So here's a potential fight for the Democrats. For the last 25 years, if you look at public opinion polling, you'd think that a pro-environmental position was very popular. Democrats have failed to mobilize on that issue repeatedly at the ballot box. And Republicans have come back on the economy and said, if you wanted, we're going to take your car away, your dishwasher away, et cetera. So I've been watching Doge very carefully, and I see people being fired, and I see some programs being canceled, but I haven't seen until yesterday anything as fundamental as this, which is Lee Zeldin, a relatively moderate Republican from New York, did a video announcing the new mission of the EPA, which makes it sound like he's the Secretary of Commerce. Here is Lee Zeldin explaining the new mission of his new EPA. Roll tape, please.
Today, I'm pleased to make the largest deregulatory announcement in U.S. history. Today, the Green New Scam ends as the EPA does its part to usher in the golden age of American success. Our actions will lower the cost of living by making it more affordable to purchase a car, heat your home, and operate a business. Jobs will be created, especially in the U.S. auto industry, and our nation will become stronger for it. From the campaign trail to day one and beyond, President Trump has delivered on his promise to unleash energy dominance and lower the cost of living. We at EPA will do our part to power the great American comeback.
Sean, am I right that this is a big deal, and what are the implications going forward politically and substantively?
This is huge. This is kind of like OMB in the sense that people on the outside don't fully appreciate the power that it wields. One of the great success stories that Trump used to talk about during the first term was Scott Pruitt, who had been the EPA administrator at the time, and how he was deregulating things, just not getting the attention. And I think the difference is Lee is obviously a lot more TV friendly, a lot more political. This is huge for the movement. The idea of all of these regulations, especially in the small business world, who have been strangled by ridiculous environmental things that do more to virtue signal than actually protect the environment. So this is a huge thing for business, probably big business and small business as well. But this is a huge conservative win for the movement.
Sean.
Yeah,
I mean, Dan, sorry.
Yeah, look, I think he sounded more like the Secretary of Energy. And I think substantively, I think it's terrible because you're talking about clean air and mercury in water and things of that nature. Politically, and this is why, Mark, I think the Democrats are going to have to be careful. I worked for one of my clients years ago was a governor of a Midwestern state and also a Rocky Mountain state, and they both wanted to focus on the environment. But when they got back the data, both qualitative and quantitative, the idea of paying more for energy, for food, for heating, for their car, versus it will make the air cleaner or the car more environmentally friendly. The polling was like 70-30 against the environmental action when put in that context.
Yep.
And I think coming off of inflation with tariffs and Doge and all the economic anxieties, if we start, trying to die on the hill for the EPA, I think it's dangerous. But personally, I mean, for the country, I think it's terrible.
Yep. Raise your hand if you want to get in the conversation. Again, we need 3 new people or the show will be eliminated. I've seen so much wasted polling money, so much money wasted on polling in the last 25 years by pro-environmental groups who are trying to convince their clients and their members that it's a winning issue for them. And as Dan just said, if you poll it honestly, it's not, which is why Zeldin is so confident in doing this, which is why Republicans talk about, taking their car away, taking the dishwasher away. Of course, the country needs a balance. And what Zeldin's saying seems to me, both politically and substantively, if you take it literally, it's too much.
Yeah.
For it's not sensible what he's saying. The EPA can't be in charge of making things affordable. In fact, the founding language.
See, I disagree with that though. But I mean, I think for a lot of small businesses, they struggle with trying to get by to.
But that's not
with,
the EPA's. Of course.
No. Oh, I disagree. I think the way that companies have to comply with like the tsetse fly regulation because you have to move 10 feet.
Sean, I'm not disagreeing with you about that at all. And as a matter of substance or politics, what I'm saying is He's not even giving lip service. I mean, eliminate the EPA. If the EPA's mission is not to have some guidance about finding the right balance, we don't need the EPA. Let the Commerce Department decide what the right balance is. I just don't understand it from an institutional point of view. We don't need the EPA. If his posture is we're just about making sure people can drive whatever car they want and to make sure business does not have any regulation based on environmental concerns, get rid of it.
Yeah, and that energy is as cheap as humanly possible. And I mean, look, this is where Doge we're going to see. You eliminate the Department of Education. That's where they're trying to go. You basically turn the EPA into a subsidiary of the Energy Department. I don't know if that middle 10% signed up for that. And it's a real outstanding question.
Barack Obama would win that argument.
Yes.
Barack Obama would win that argument.
But there's a difference between the Department of Education has taken what is ostensibly a state and local issue and tried to federalize it. We talked to that superintendent in Montana a couple of weeks ago on the show. That's different. The problem, so I don't have, I mean, again, conservatives have long argued since its foundation. Reagan talked about this back in the day, getting rid of this thing because it's not what it was supposed to do. The EPA, I think, is different in the sense that, there is agreement on clean water, clean air. But where it's crossed the line is that it's now become, it's worked its way into every small business where it talks about, how far away you have to be from a water source and talking about ponds and things that literally are not about, that are inhibiting growth and job creation at the expense of virtue signaling.
But that's not the EPA's job to be a job creator. Their job is to find the balance.
But it's not to stop. It's to protect the environment, not inhibit job creation.
But Sean, if he said there's a new day dawning, the balance between economic growth and affordable energy and the environment has gone askew. We've veered too far into irrational regulation that have hurt business development, have hurt consumers. We're striking a new balance. Of course, we all want clean water and clean air. And of course, there's a role for the federal government in that. But the balance has to shift, and that's what we're doing today. But that's not what he said. What he said is we're getting rid of all the regulation because we want you to be able to have clean, cheap energy. I don't want to pay for. I don't want my tax dollars to go for an EPA that's a subsidiary of, I'd say, the Commerce Department, says the Energy Department. I don't think either of us disagrees with you. The regulation has gone too far, and it's hampering economic growth. But you can't say that statement represented the search for new balance. It was like we're getting rid of all these regulations.
It's a big issue with suburban women too. At least it has been the last couple of elections. So we'll see.